Hello, my name is Annie Paperno. I'm a practicum student in the Office of General Studies, and I'm here to do a presentation on cover letters and curriculum vitae, otherwise known as CVs. This is part 3 of our professional development series called Career Prep. So let's get started. What makes a good cover letter? A good cover letter should tell your story and illustrate your personality. Most important, a good cover letter is customized to the job you are seeking. Your skills and experience should align with the job description. So a cover letter is not just a stock letter that you send out to every job that you're applying for. A cover letter is going to change per the job description of the position you're applying for. So what I recommend is writing sort of a stock cover letter just to get started, to practice. But then every job that you're going to apply for, you will have to tweak that cover letter. But at least you'll have the standard format. And some of the paragraphs actually don't change that much. So we'll go into the different sections and it'll make more sense as we go further. What does a cover letter reveal? Well, it shows how well you can communicate, how your writing is, your grammar, what are your experiences and qualifications? How about your professionalism? If you actually know how to write a standard cover letter, that immediately shows that you're a professional. If you follow the rules, it'll show that you understand what the industry expectations are for cover letters. And again, how detail-oriented you are. If you get all the signatures right, every little bit of punctuation right, shows that you're detail-oriented. So before you begin, you want to think about your employer's needs. This cover letter isn't so much about selling you, it's about connecting the dots between what your skills and experiences are and what the employer is looking for. You also want to think about your objectives. What is it that you want to get across? What do you want the employer to know about you? What are 3 to 5 qualifications or qualities that you would bring to the job? And how can you match your experience to the job? You want to talk about specific accomplishments. This is not a time to be generic. You really need to brainstorm some specific experiences that you've had, either in a work experience, in a course that you took that's relevant to the job you're applying for, something that will connect between what the employer is looking for and what your actual skills are. And last, why do you want to work for this company? So one of the easiest things to get right about the cover letter is the format. If you stick to the rules, you'll be fine. What you want to do is copy and paste the header that you used on your resume, put that at the top of the paper. Then you want to use 11 to 12 point font, usually Times New Roman or something really simple, a sans serif like Arial or Verdanda. You're going to type out the full mailing address. Even if this is submitted electronically, usually through an applicant tracking system, you're going to still want to put the full address. And this also includes addressing it to a specific person. This is kind of tricky. Sometimes you don't know. I mean, the job is just listed online. You don't know who you're actually supposed to address the letter to. So I recommend doing some detective work. Google the department that you're applying for, see if you can figure out who the head of the department is. If you don't know, you can pick up the phone, call the human resources department. If none of that, if you hit a dead end with all of those, you can say, dear hiring manager or dear employer, but don't say to whom it may concern or dear sir or madam. So let's look at a cover letter. As you can see, we pasted the header that we were using in our resume. So the resume and the cover letter are going to look the same at the top with the header. So you're going to have your name that's a little bit bigger than everything else, your non-school email with like with a professional email, something that doesn't have a .edu, your phone number, and perhaps a LinkedIn address. So going down the format here, you're going to have the date, the full address, dear Mr. Boswell, colon. For some reason, they've decided that a colon instead of a comma is what you want to use in cover letters. So that's just what you do. You don't really have to question it, just go for it. Then this cover letter is made up of 3 paragraphs. It can be 4, but 3 is definitely usually enough. It needs to fit on 1 page. If you can't get all the information and to fit in 1 page, you're going to need to edit. And last, you have the signature. It says sincerely, comma, with an actual physical signature plus the typed name. What you're going to want to do with the signature is you're going to want to scan that in, or you could use your touchpad. If you have a touchpad, you could use your mouse to create a signature. You're going to save that as an image and then drop that into your Microsoft document. So let's just read through the first paragraph. Dear Mr. Boswell, I'm writing to express my interest in the executive training program for Somerville Clothing Company as detailed on the company's human resource website. I was immediately attracted to the position because of Somerville's commitment to customer service and the tremendous growth opportunity within the company. Additionally, my prior experience in retail and my student leadership at the University of Mississippi make me a strong candidate for the rotational program. So this person got a lot of information out in the first paragraph. They talked about how they learned about the job. They talked about the position that they were applying for. You can state if you were referred by anybody here in this paragraph, and then indicate what interests you about the position. So again, you want to make sure that you are very clear about the position you're applying for and where you saw the position advertised. People are getting, hundreds of these letters. If they don't know the position you're applying for, it's not going to do you or them any good. All right, let's read the second paragraph. I'm a senior at the University of Mississippi majoring in psychology with a minor in Spanish and will graduate in May 2018. My passion for the retail industry began when I started working for Macy's in the junior department during high school. I found out I enjoyed working with customers and determining their needs, matching the needs with a quality product, therefore building relationships with satisfied customers. I was further motivated by our team's sales goals and enjoyed thinking of creative ways to feature new products. This passion carried over to my student leadership position with Kappa Sigma Nu, where I established and helped exceed target fundraising goals for Donate My Dress Foundation, which provides prom dresses to underprivileged youth. A study abroad opportunity to Stellenbosch University, South Africa, further enabled me to apply these goals as I worked with a team to gather used clothing from affluent families for needy children in a local township. I will bring the same energy to Somerville Clothing Company. There's a lot of information in this and a lot of transferable skills, a lot of great information about passion, but actually how they delivered on that passion. It's not just saying you're passionate about something, but how did that passion actually manifest? So you want to think about selling yourself. Why hire you? You want to describe your educational background and relevant experiences that qualify you for the position. You want to use specific skills and experiences. This is not the time just to say, I'm a really hard worker. You have to use an example that shows how hard of a worker you are. You're going to want to use keywords for the job listing and focus on the qualification the job is seeking. So if you can sort of cross-reference what the job description is saying and make some of those words show up in your cover letter, that's a great way to really show that you understand what the job requirements entails and how you can match those job requirements with your skills. And you can make this paragraph, you could go into 1 or 2 paragraphs for this section. So the third paragraph is easy. You would just basically thank the employer, invite them to contact you by including your phone number and email. Even though it's included, you just sort of reiterate it. And then you always are going to sign with the handwritten signature and the type name underneath. So they say, I would appreciate the opportunity to meet with you and discuss my potential contribution to the Somerville team. If you require additional information, please call me at 601-555-5555 or email. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, I need a job. So cover letters, what you want to do, the do's, target a specific job, So again, at the first paragraph, you're going to say exactly what job you're applying for. Talk about what you can do for the employer more than what the employer can do for you. You're going to convey focused goals, experiences, and skills. You always want to keep a positive tone. This is not the time to air grievances about other companies or say how hard it is to find a job. Keep it very positive and professional. Do not ramble or make vague claims not backed up by examples. You know, the passion, I think, is a good example. Saying you're passionate about something is one thing, but in the cover letter we read, she was able to give actual specific examples of how her passion actually manifested in her jobs and experiences. Definitely want to proofread it and have it critiqued by a professional. And you want it printed on quality paper, something thicker than regular laser paper, and it should fit to one page. Okay, so cover letter don'ts. A bad cover letter would fail to communicate a clear purpose. It would have grammatical mistakes, unprofessionalism. It would have awkward language, passive voice, overly assertful or boastful, not focused on the job or the company, and then addressed incorrectly. So that's it on cover letters. And since cover letters are a little bit, not quite as much information to go over, there's time to go into detail about a CV. So a CV in America is different than a CV in other countries. Other countries actually use the word CV, but we use the word resume. But in this country, the CV is more in the academic world. It's a longer form resume, and it's going to entail a lot of information about publications, speaking engagements. It's a longer form resume that isn't necessarily adjusted per job description. A resume often is very focused, and a CV is more comprehensive. So a CV demonstrates a candidate's full professional work history, research work, publications, and experience. It's longer than a resume, and it is more comprehensive. It's not adjusted for a specific job or qualifications. It's used in most academic, medical science, and engineering fields. There's a lot of categories in CVs, and it's going to be customized to what applies to you. So some of the categories include summary of qualifications, education, research lab experience, teaching areas, research interests, relevant work experience, publications, presentations, honors, grants, professional memberships, service to the profession, and community involvement. So if you look here at this CV, you can see that it's over one page. It's spread out a little more. They're going to have the education at the top, and you want to spell out your degree, and you're going to put the dissertation, if you have one, in this section as well. The next section underneath, for this person, they have a research teaching experience. They have bullet points with action verbs. This is kind of similar to a work experience in your resume. Underneath, they have presentation and publications with their name highlighted in bold. You're going to want to cite your work, your presentations, the same way that you would for your industry. So if it's APA standards, that's what you would use in your CV. Underneath, they have more work experience. So this isn't necessarily teaching experience. This is a job. They worked at a swim club. So then there's a section for honors and awards. And this is going to say when they, let's see, it says how much they received and when they received it. It's important to give those specifics. And then again, you can customize this to whatever is relevant to your experiences. This person has community service. And then optional categories, skill or qualifications, institutional service, professional associations, community involvement, or educational travel. So you can see the CV is going to follow some of the same rules as a resume, but it's more in depth, and it includes sections that aren't necessarily work related. They're more research related.